And the market ticker's Karl Denninger is talking to us from Florida with more analysis on both of these fascinating stories. Good to see you, Karl, as usual. So you heard the piece. This soccer star pretty much saying it's not about taking to the streets anymore. Put down your signs, get yourself to a bank, withdraw your money. What do you make of this brand new quote-unquote revolution, and could it ever come here to the United States?
Well, it already tried to come here to the United States. There was a campaign called Move Your Money, which was intended to take money out of the large banks and put them into local credit unions, which are owned by...
But this is different, though. I mean, you're right about that. A lot of members of Congress did that, but they're talking about taking your money out of the too-big-to-fail banks and putting them into the local community banks. But this is something different.
Yeah, I don't think this really, you'd have to orchestrate some kind of a run on the electronic money as opposed to the physical money. You could run the ATM machines all out of cash. That wouldn't be very hard to do. But that's not where most of the money is nowadays. Nowadays, most of it is digital, and it's stored in a computer. It's not in $100 bills. So in order to really have an impact, you'd have to be able to orchestrate something like what happened after Lehman.
Well, speaking of $100 bills, what do you make of this story here, the unusable dollar bills? And I want to mention that the total value of these bills represents more than 10% of the entire supply of U.S. currency on the planet.
Yeah, I wonder exactly what it was they intended to do with all those $100 bills to begin with. I mean, we seem to be finding an awful lot of them in places like Afghanistan where they really don't belong. But I wonder about the quality control situation, and that's really the big question here. How do you run off that many of these without checking to see whether or not the printing is working correctly?
What does that say about the system? I mean, who's to blame here? How can something like this happen? That's what many folks are asking these days.
Well, what sort of competence have we seen anywhere in our government? Is it any surprise that the man who's our Treasury Secretary and can't manage to file his taxes accurately can't also manage to produce a $100 bill that actually works? Doesn't surprise me very much.
Well, people are actually saying that this is a slap in the face to Timothy Geithner.
I don't think it's so much that. I think it's a reach too far. They tried to do too much with these new security features. They didn't test anything, and they went ahead and produced it without knowing whether or not it would work.
All right, let's talk more about this issue with the French, run on the banks, quote unquote. Obviously, it didn't result in any economic collapse, but what they were proposing was basically taking all of the money out. But the question is, I mean, of course, depending on who actually participated and how much money that they took out, I mean, it could result in a complete collapse of the system, right?
You'd have to go after the electronic funds. If people in their brokerage accounts and their money markets were to transfer those electronic funds somewhere else, yes, it could. And in fact, that's exactly what Bernanke was trying to stop after Lehman went down when he put in all those emergency programs, because that was what was happening. There was over $500 billion that was moved essentially within minutes.
Now, I went on your website right before the interview. You had an article. The first headline read, "The Lies Continue." You were referring to unemployment there. Just wanted you to elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, the premise that we have some people out here in America running with right now is that the deal that supposedly has been struck by President Obama would extend the 99 weeks of unemployment beyond 99 weeks. That was never part of what was proposed. But this is, of course, what people are seizing on. And the problem is that there are about 2 million people here in America that either have or will roll off that 99 weeks here within the next few weeks. And so it is a very real problem. But nothing that has been proposed thus far is going to deal with that.
And, it's interesting, we were sort of talking about this in editorial meetings, about this story about these $100 bills. Everyone's talking about the unemployment. Everyone's talking about the tax cuts. Nobody really talking about how much money is wasted here, and that's taxpayer money.
Yeah, if you look at the number of people, though, that could be helped with that, I mean, realistically speaking, you're talking $100 million to print these bills, and there's 2 or 3 million people that would be impacted by rolling off the 99 weeks, so we could give all of them $50. Would it buy them some bread and some milk? Yes, but would it make a substantial difference to their life? Probably not.
Yeah, and that's a point a lot of economists bring up as well. Karl Denninger of the Market Ticker, always good to have your analysis, Karl.
Thank you very much.